How to get good at anything. As long as the thing can be quantified and there's a proper scoring system, you can get good at almost anything out there by implementing not necessarily a simple strategy, but we can simplify it to the 80-20 rule, where 20% of the changes you can get 80% of the results. The point of this video is to try and explain how you can get good at anything, but of course this channel is about dating, so it is how can you get good at dating by changing a few things and the right mindset. So I'm going to explain how I have got good at a ton of different things in my life. I'm going to show some evidence as well. Before we kick it off, I'm Dave, and this channel is dedicated to giving you no BS, novel dating advice for the modern man. Top link in the description to get some one-on-one coaching with me anywhere in the world. And of course, I teach the sweet art of cold approach, which is definitely recommended as well. My book's in the description. So how can you get good at anything in life? And what I'm going to do is, firstly myself, I have played rugby union. I've got into, did some boxing. I got quite good at boxing as well. Obviously with my background where I grew up, there was lots of street fights. I've been attacked with a bar and I had to learn how to fight myself. I've had a shotgun and a handgun pulled on me before, baseball bats, golf clubs, you name it. Gangs of guys, etc. So I had to get good at that as well. Surfing was a tough one. It took me about 3 years to figure out how to surf. And at my absolute peak fitness and skill, I got up to surfing. The biggest waves I got up to were 10 feet tall, which is very large actually. 10 feet doesn't seem very large, but you measure the wave from the back. So in fact the face of a wave can be, you can die in 10-foot waves. So got good at that. But the example I have today, which I wish I had footage of rugby and surfing, but I do have footage of table tennis. I got good at table tennis. Within about 6 months time, I dedicated myself to getting good at table tennis. I became obsessed with it for about a year period there. I got really good, taught myself how to play by using implementing the same method that I implemented with every other thing that I've done with throughout my life. And at the end of about a 6-month period, I was one of the best players I knew, and I was making $100 to sometimes $300 a week just by turning up to simple tournaments, just beating all the competition and taking the prize money. It was really easy. And some of my partners, my hitting partners, were in the top 30 ranking in Australia, the best of the best. And they were my friends. I had their numbers and I was hanging out with them. And that all happened within a 6 to 12 month period. And I'm going to try and break it down for you guys. So for instance, what I did was, when I first started out, I couldn't find a hitting partner. If you're trying to get good at dating, you're probably not going to have any luck getting any wings, and the wings that you get are going to be newbies. You sit there, so you don't really want newbie wings, right? I was hitting the ball against the wall like this, and no one wanted to play with me. I was right at the very beginning. No one wanted to play with me at all. And so I just started hitting the ball against the wall, and then I would meet one partner who would play with me, and then I noticed after I started playing this guy, then I meet another guy and I'd have a new partner. Then my group of guys that I was meeting and playing with expanded and expanded, and I noticed that every single one of them had their own style, and it was like they did the same thing every game, and there was a pattern to the sequences as to how they played their balls, what slices or top spin, or was it direct top, or was it a little bit on the side here, and then they did a spin, were just flat. Did they hold the bat like this, or did they hold it like chopsticks, which is very common as well. I noticed patterns with all of the players, and also if you guys are out there, you're getting into dating, every guy out there has a style on how he meets women, and he can't snap out of it. He can't innovate. You'll notice he'll approach the same way. Even the best of the best coaches in the world have this. It's a sticking point. I can pick out the best in the world, and they will do the same thing every time they meet new women. So they're all intermediate. They're all intermediates in my opinion. So what happened was I noticed patterns. And how did I get good? Well, what I started to do was, okay, well, for instance, the obvious one that anyone can see is you can hold the, chopsticks, right? I started using chopsticks against guys who used chopsticks. So I would master the chopsticks when playing them. And then what I would do is guys that would do a lot of chop. They would hold a, hand, and they'll chop, 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 slice, slice, slice. I would play the slice game with them. I would chop everything back. And then next thing you know, that was I knew how to use the chopsticks. And I grabbed that skill and put it in my tool belt. And then when I played the guy that only did the slice, I took his skill and put it in my tool belt. I was acquiring skills. I became good with the chopsticks, then I became good at the slice. I met guys that would use the chopsticks and stand right in the middle and then just half volley everything. Like this. No slice, no, it was just flat. And then I would play that game against them until I could beat them at their own game. And when I was able to beat them at their own game, I grabbed that tool, put it in my tool belt. And I went around there stealing skills, like taking their skills. Everybody, I'd seek out guys that had a skill that I wanted to acquire, and I would play them and beat them eventually at their own skill. I met guys that would have like weird slices and all these spins, and I would literally mirror them and replicate it. Stole his skill, right? And I went around and stole everybody's skill, acquired their skills, and I put them all in my tool belt. And as I did that, I then knew when I would come up against someone that had a multitude of skills, I could identify them all faster. And then I knew how to beat them at their own game. And even though I could beat them by beating that specific tool, by it's like that card game. There's like a children's card game where they put down a card and this particular card beats that card. It's like rock, paper, scissors. No, I would actually challenge myself by trying to beat them at their own game with a little bit of a twist to try and beat them. Because that made me better, right? And I was constantly doing that until I got to a level that was higher than most. This bat, this is a butterfly. This is a butterfly. This is a, I don't know, $500-600 bat. And then what you do is, it's really old now. This is the forehand side. The size, I had to learn how to figure out what size I needed. And on both sides, I think this is 1.6 and this is exactly 2. I had a heavy slice backhand. And how did I find that out? Well, I acquired a mentor who was won a world championship in Hong Kong. Couldn't really speak English, but after I played him a few times, he took me under his wing, and his nickname pretty much for me was Chop Chop Chop. Ha 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 ha, chop chop chop. Anyway, very, very valuable. This old man could hit a ball like you wouldn't believe and just smash it by me. So that's how I got good, okay? And I kept trying new things and taking that skill. So when you associate that back to dating, you'll meet guys that are great online, and you see what they do and you watch them, or you meet up with them, hang out with them, and you take that skill and you put that in your tool belt. You see a guy who is very direct, yad stopping. You go hang out with them and you take their skill and you do it better than them, and then you put it in your tool belt. Then what you do is you go out and meet another guy who's going to nightclubs all the time, and he's high energy and he has a way with the chaos of just coordinating everything. And you hang out with him and you take that skill and you put it in your tool belt. And you grab all of these skills and you go around, and that's how you get good at game. You hang out with all of them and you do everything that they're doing. You don't get stuck like the vast majority of guys that get into table tennis and they do one thing and repeat it. And if you ask them what they're doing, they just go, this is the best way. This is the best. And if you know about dating, there is so many different ways that you can do everything. It's like, what's the most common question? How to start a conversation. They call it a pickup line. What's the first thing you say to a girl? Well, the first thing you say to a girl, there's a billion different ways or things you could say and ways you could go about that, isn't there? And you know that. And so when you think about it, the sequence between hello sentence to body language to how you should play the game, should you try from saying hello at a bus stop, try just have a conversation, instant date, pull straight back home, should you get a number, should you go direct, should you go indirect, should you try and coordinate with a friends right now, what should you just number close within a few seconds and get the hell out of there? What should you do? It's so complex. Well, how do you think I got good at it? I spent a lot of time split testing all of them, and I'm going to show some footage now, just because you're probably like, who the hell is this guy? Now here's some footage of me playing, but I have already got to the level where I am really good. I've had a hip replacement already at this stage, and my right hip has gone, so I can't walk. So if you're wondering why I'm standing there like a robot, it is because I cannot actually move, and I cannot stand for more than say 20 minutes at a time. So my skills have decreased massively because I can't really play table tennis anymore. I can't bend my knees. I'm officially disabled. That's who you're watching playing table tennis, and I got my hand in my pocket standing there like a robot. And I'm kind of coaching these new guys coming up. I'm saying, beat me. I'm disabled and I haven't hit a ball in months. You're hitting balls every day. Beat me. Get the ball by me. And I'm testing them. And you can see they're having trouble getting by me, right? Because I got to the level where I had so much skill that these guys that are playing every day, they just couldn't beat me. And that was when I got to the point where I started, kind of coaching guys into table tennis, and I was teaching them new methods and how I got good myself. And then you can see that I had my next operation and I was back on my feet, and literally you can see with some photos here that I'm overweight, I look terrible. And I slotted straight in, even though I wasn't at that university. They sneakily slotted me into a university tournament. And I made it to the quarterfinals pretty much like, I think it was like maybe 5 months after a hip replacement. You can see I haven't properly lost my weight, but I wanted to keep losing weight, so I had to do some sort of exercise, right? So I got good at it, and I think that should be enough evidence to prove to you guys that I got quite good at table tennis. It'd be great if I had some footage of me surfing. That would be a little bit more epic, I think. But I used a method. There was a clear strategy how I got good at table tennis, surfing, boxing, rugby. You can go back, and there's one thing out of all of the things that I've done in my life that I've spent more time on, and that is meeting and trying to attract women. That is the one thing that I have spent more time on than anything else. And I have actively gone out and sought out guys that have different skills, hung out with them, and taken their skills, putting them into my tool belt. And still today, if I find someone that has something that I don't know, I'll go try seek them out or watch their videos and try and figure out how they do what they do. And I'm now at the level where I think that there's not many guys out there that have anything new to add. And that's when I decided to write the book, and that's where I started to start up this channel. Because I got to a point where I think that no matter who you are, where you are, what demographic you are, height, race, country, problems, whatever, I can come up with a strategy, cater that strategy by going through all of my tools that I have acquired through millions of, I don't know, like not millions, but thousands of hours. This is nothing. And I got good at this. I got really good at this, and there's some video evidence of how good I got. But I spent at least 10, maybe more time spent on dating and relationships than that. And even while I was doing that, I was still spending time dating multiple girls. Actually, when I was doing this, I had 3 regulars at that one time, and they were all, you know, kind of hot as well. So I was always doing this. I've spent so much more time on this than any other skill, but there's a method to the madness. You'll notice with some of my interviews that I do, I'm trying to be humorous, right? That's a skill that you can learn. You'll notice that I teach indirect, covert game because it can be scaled up, and it is the 80% that you can get from literally shifting 20% of your problems, and we can fix so many things in such a short period of time, and you're less likely to get in trouble from society by going indirect, covert, you know, proper calibrated game where there's people around and you run a conversation without just going over and being super direct, which is absolutely ridiculous. It's like it's literally like that guy that has a real cardboard cutout style in table tennis. He's using the chopsticks and he stands right in the center of the table, and he always does this, and all I need to do is step back, boom, lots of top spin, and pop it right in the middle here, and he can't do anything about it because he doesn't have any more tools in the tool belt. But that's what I bring to the table: proper analysis through I don't know how many hours of running my game, learning new things. Even today, I'm learning new things too, because what I'm doing now is I now have a lot of clients, and I'm working on solving their issues, and I'm testing things with them. Okay, well, this type of guy, you're going to need to test those things yourself, because I can't necessarily always just look at you and go, okay, well, here's the solution. It's a little bit more complex than, well, most things out there. And I'm going to test something with you. I'm going to test something else. We're going to trial something new. And it's not the same strategy for every single guy. And that's why a lot of people out there, they think, okay, well, all the pickup coaches are frauds. It's because they give you this cardboard cutout of what you need to do, and they just go, oh, this is how you do game. Here, you can do game now. Here's your default method. No matter who you are, where you're from, anything, we don't need to know anything about you. We don't need to cater it to you. Here's your cutout default method, and here you go. And if it doesn't work, just do more approaches. That's just not how it works. It needs to be catered to you, and that's why coaching does work when you have a guy that's willing to do a proper objective analysis of where you're at and figure out how to solve your problem. And when you do coaching with me, you're doing coaching with me. You're not doing coaching with a business and he just goes, oh, this is my the guy that does the coaching for me while I sit in my mansion somewhere. But how do you know that that guy's any good at coaching anyway? And I don't think that I could teach guys something, but there's very few guys that would have the analysis that I'd be able to give to one of you guys out there. So I need to analyze you myself. That's just how it is, really, and come up with strategies and split test it. And over time, this is not something that can be solved instantly. It might take a couple years. Yes, I said a couple years. Sorry, we can't change everything in 4 days. Sorry, guys. It's like, here, table tennis bat, Olympics, go. I'll change you in literally 4 days. I would play from an hour minimum every morning, every lunchtime, about an hour, and sometimes 3 hours after work every single day, and I would play Saturday and Sunday to get good within 6 months. So if you think that I just like picked up a bat, did some analysis, and away you go, I'm winning tournaments, no, I put in hundreds or thousands of hours to get good at this. It didn't happen overnight. There were times where I would come up against guys that had a skill that I didn't have just yet, and I would continue playing them. And the mentality was they enjoyed playing me because they continuously beat me, and they enjoyed winning. They didn't like losing. I enjoyed learning, which meant that I was okay with rejection, dating. I was okay with losing points continuously. I was okay with continuously losing to them, because every time I played them, I got that little tiny bit closer to acquiring their skill. And every time I played them, they taught me something new. My skill got to a point where eventually I was on their level, and then I surpassed them because I didn't just have their skill, I had a whole range of skills. And at that point, I would see guys that would enjoy beating me by using their skill that they've spent a decade acquiring. And once I acquired their skill, they could never, ever beat me again. And that only comes from lots of losses and focusing on that growth mindset. And that comes from rejection as well. Sometimes you're going to spend whole days getting rejected, but if you're doing it in a proper way where you are focused on acquiring the skill, long term, you can master it. Keep that in mind. There's con artists out there that say that, yeah, overnight I'm going to get you laid and you're going to meet your wife or some crap like that. That's not how the real world works. So this has been a very long video, but I hope you guys understand where I'm going at with this video, and I hope it makes sense to you that this is a complicated thing, and if everyone was doing it, if it was easy, everyone would be doing it, right? But on the flip side, a lot of people do have success, but I can explain why they're getting success, and that's why a lot of coaches are in their 20s and they're good looking, and they're getting results despite their terrible game. And if they've only got one tool in their tool belt, which is pretty boy direct game or something like that. I'm not saying all direct game is bad, because for some people direct game might actually work to some extent. It's complicated, and that's why we go down to analyzing you and where you're at. I think I've said enough. If you like this video, click the subscribe button. If you want some one-on-one coaching with me, or you want to join up on a boot camp anywhere you are in the world, top link in the description. Fill out the form. I've got a Telegram group where you can speak to me as well. My book's in the description as well. And I'll see you guys in the next video.